are so many different jobs in cybersecurity that you can pursue that it is overwhelmingly insane. So I created this video to expose you to 7 different domains of cybersecurity career pathways that you can take in your journey to cybersecurity. Stay to the end of the video and you may discover a gem that would change your entire pursuit to a cybersecurity career. Before we get into it, cybersecurity and IT security are very similar. I guess the marketing, cyber sounds a lot sexier than IT security. Really, they're the same thing. So if you think IT security, all of those various types of fields need to have security. So cloud security, network security, application security. If you want to get familiar and you're completely new to cybersecurity and you want to go into more depth of these, there's a good course on Coursera by IBM and it's called the Cybersecurity Analyst course. I'll link it below if you are interested in checking that out. I think it's free for 7 days. So cybersecurity careers can be broken down into 7 various domains that you could take as a pathway. Those pathways are asset security, security, architecture and engineering, network security and communications, identity and access management, security assessment and testing, security operations, software development, security. These cybersecurity salaries will vary greatly depending on your skill, your cost of living, and what pathway you choose. So it's best to do your own research, and you can easily do that by going to Glassdoor and then typing in various career paths. Also, there's a website that I'll also link below, completely free, and it's called Cyberseek. And it gives you tons of different jobs and then the pathway to each one of those. First one is communication and network security. What you do in network security is you implement secure network designs for a variety of technologies, including network architectures, when you get more advanced in your career. You're really going to need to know in this cybersecurity career what the OSI model is, what TCP/IP is, what software-defined networks are, various types of vendors and how all of those play into it and what vulnerabilities each vendor has, and you're never going to want to use the same vendor. So being well versed in things such as Cisco, Juniper, Palo Alto is extremely valuable and would serve you well. Job titles here would be network security engineer, what I do, network firewall engineer, security, network engineer, because I mean you need to know security. Next domain of a cybersecurity pathway that you can take is security and risk management. Those of you who absolutely love paperwork, this cybersecurity career is for you. I personally don't like paperwork, but I know some people really do. Here you're going to figure out compliance requirements, understand legal and regulatory issues concerning network, database, and computer security, including any new laws and regulations that come out. Document security policies, regulations, guidelines, and then you're going to push that out to everybody. Now, there is a difference between a policy and a guideline, believe this or not. Some common job titles for this career is IT compliance and risk advisor, an IT auditor to make sure that everything is in compliance with the law. And you're also going to be, for these, you're going to need to be really well versed in HIPAA, NIST, 800-53 controls, GDPR, depending on where you live, FISMA, and the list could go on. There's so many different regulations. You could just specialize in regulations for business and make a ton of money because that is a niche that is wide open and a lot of technicians absolutely despise it because it's a lot of paperwork, and just by nature, just anyone in tech just doesn't like paperwork and documentation. I don't know what it is. So if you want to go that route, it's a fabulous route. Now, the next cybersecurity career domain is identity and access management. Now, these are the people who make sure the correct permissions to the right resources. You may integrate these things from a third-party service. You have to be aware of different vulnerabilities that exist with that. You control the physical and logical assets, so share drive permissions, accounts, things of that sort. And manage the authentication of services and identification of people. This is extremely important because if you allow people who aren't authorized to the wrong files, you could leak a lot of data. If you work in the government, you could leak United States secrets, and if you work in the private sector, you could leak important data to your competitors who then could steal your ideas and be kind of ahead of you. Common job titles for this cybersecurity domain is identity and access management engineer, analyst, or administrator. And you'll need to be well versed in security controls, network security, password management, and access control. Cybersecurity pathway you can take is security assessment and testing. Now for all of you out there, this is probably the most familiar because you can become a penetration tester. Everyone has just become an ethical hacker or a penetration tester, and that's all they think about security is people trying to hack things into your network. So if you're interested in that, this is the cybersecurity career pathway for you. Validate and test different strategies to see if the network is secure. Conduct security control testing and collect security and process data. And you analyze the test output and create reports based on your findings, and then you probably pass that off to someone and then they remediate your findings at the company. Oftentimes, people will hire you to try to find vulnerabilities in the network, and these job titles are often penetration tester and ethical hacker, and you'll be doing log reviews, penetration testing, scanning. You'll often use Kali Linux and things like Burp Suite and Metasploit. You may become a social engineer and then be trying to kind of manipulate people over the email or do phishing attacks and then perform those to see how well your employees are trained in cybersecurity matters and protecting the network. The next domain is security operations. Now this is another one people are very familiar with as it's incident response, and then it's the incident security analyst or cybersecurity engineer. Those types of jobs fall under here. So these people are responsible for monitoring, investigation, and escalation of security incidents. So oftentimes you'll be monitoring logs, or maybe you work in forensics, and a lot of times you'll be performing daily log reviews to see if anything was outside of the baseline. You'll be doing event analysis, so you're aggregating all of your types of data, probably utilizing something like Splunk. You'll also be involved with the antivirus and malware. And here you're going to need a really good knowledge of log aggregation software such as Splunk. You're going to need to understand computer networking. You're going to need to understand different laws and regulations when it comes to cybersecurity. You'll also need a really good basis of cybersecurity threats and vulnerabilities. This is where a lot of people will start out, and an incident response is actually an entry-level job. So if you can get a good basis of everything, you can start off monitoring logs for your entry-level job. And a lot of these times they're night shifts, so you may have to do a night shift. The graveyard shift oftentimes, nobody wants to do that, so sometimes they have to hire really inexperienced people to do those shifts, and it sucks, but you're gonna get paid more than most people who do graveyard shifts. The next cybersecurity pathway is the security software development domain, and people are very familiar with this. It's probably application security or software architecture, doing something of that sort. And these people are just like what it sounds. So you have to do things with security in mind, and you have to build from there. However, security was not always in mind. So a lot of the apps actually on your phone are pretty hackable. So you do things such as implement security in the software development lifecycle, or SDLC, identify security controls and apply them in an agile environment. And you'll also have to assess the effectiveness of security software. And let me tell you, a lot of companies do not think of security because it kind of slows things down a lot. So if you're in software security, it's a great field to get, and it's only going to get more and more as more companies get hacked You're gonna need to know secure coding practices. You're gonna need to know change management, such as ITIL, operations for software security, and you're gonna know how to integrate this into a product team, and that's often done by Scrum Masters. The last cybersecurity career pathway that you can take is security architecture and engineering. These people are usually going to be a little bit later on in their career, and they're going to have at least 10 years of experience because you need to have a strong knowledge of either software or infrastructure in order to pinpoint vulnerabilities. This isn't an entry-level job at all. However, it's something that you can aspire to be. And what you're going to do is you're going to assess and mitigate vulnerabilities in databases, networks, software development, cloud, industrial control systems, Internet of Things, or distributed systems such as blockchain. The skills required for this cybersecurity job, you're going to need to have a really good basis of a lot of different technologies, including basically everything. And you're going to need a really good knowledge of cybersecurity. Common job titles for this cybersecurity pathway are cryptographer and security network architect, anything with the architect. So network architect, cloud security architect, software architect. And so there are my 7 domains of cybersecurity pathways that you can take. I know it's a little bit overwhelming, but also if you want to check out Coursera, you can check that out also below in the description, and leave any comments or criticisms that you have below, and then hopefully my videos will get better. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day.